teachers. So welcome to our next lesson. And in this lesson, we're looking at the new grade 3 curriculum. Particularly, we're looking at the social studies curriculum in the area of the new way we're looking at community. So before we even start, if you notice in this file, there's a couple globes right here and right here. Those are linked to the new curriculum. So if you haven't seen it yet, might be a good place to start before you even get started with this lesson here. But anyway, we're going to go through just a couple of ideas here in this lesson. So first of all, here's the 4 different outcomes that we're going to be addressing in this lesson regarding community and fairness and how decisions are made within a community. And like I said, these are from the new curriculum. Some of the smart features we're going to be highlighting here. Shout it out. We're going to look at it pretty quick. We've done this before, so you should be familiar with it. Text and images this time. The label reveal. This is the first time we're featuring this one. So here we're going to take a look at it on slide number 6. And then half the activities, these two activities down here, obviously you can still do the same activities in your classroom with pencil and paper, but in here we're going to be looking at the Smart Learning Suite online. So that's how this lesson is kind of designed, so that kids could interact with the lesson on their mobile devices as well as communicate with the teacher either individually or as a group, so the teacher could actually collect this feedback. And by all means, it's definitely up to you how you would like to use these 2 lessons down here. Okay, so we go through the lesson, and before we even get started on the concept area, we have our first activity on slide number 3, and it's a shout it out. And this time, what we're asking for our students is, what does fairness look like to them? Now, if you click on the pencil activity right here, what you're going to notice is this time in the shout it out activity, we're asking for text responses from our students and 3 different responses each. Okay. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to remind everyone how I put this Smart Lab activity in. All I had to do is click on the little Space Invader Smart Lab icon right here, and you get all the different Smart Lab features that are available to you. Okay, so in this lesson, we're looking at Shout It Out. The label reveal is right here, and like I said, the other 2 features are going to be on the online Smart Learning Suite online, and I'll show you how to do that later. Okay. Anyway, so that's how I added this activity in, just to figure out what my students understand for fairness. Then we go through, and I'm explaining to you, my thought process behind this is getting kids to think about what fairness looks like in their community. So as a larger whole, in a school, so getting a little smaller, to as very specific as a class. You could do this activity again, just replace the word school, but maybe with community, maybe with family, siblings, brother and sister, you know what I mean? Like, you could definitely change this to personalize it for your students as you please, okay? Going through again, we're looking at the community, school, and class, what makes it more fair or less fair. So it's really trying to bump up the new thinking, and that's the new part of the new curriculum, is how to change the way kids think. So instead of just fair and not fair, what's more fair and what's less fair? Okay. Then we're morphing that into, what does it take to create a caring environment? So I found this nice picture here online. So how I got this picture in here, first you have to go online and download a copy of an image. Okay, and I made sure it's a copyright-free image. Then the next step was to click on the Smart Lab icon, choose the label reveal. So there it is right here. And the first thing it wants you to do is to insert the image that you had saved online. So for me, this is where I saved all my photos. Okay. You choose the photo you want to put in, and it shows up in here for you. Now the next step, and I'm going to show you on this activity here, if I click on the edit feature, it asks you, where do you want to place these icons? So all you have to do is click on a spot, drag it for where you want it to go, and just type in what you want it to reveal. So caring for others. Okay. Now, under change style, it's just the idea of changing the different colors of the lines. So choose whatever you'd like. For my image, red really stood out great. Hit finish when you're ready, and it will update your image for you. Your students could either go to the board and click on each of the reveals to see what they are. You could turn this activity into a smart lab activity, and you could do this, and I'll show you how to do it in a second at the end here, again in the Smart Learning Suite online. Going through the lesson some more, we have some more discussion topics about now what makes it less fair. And here we included some math examples. So we could talk about ratios, we could talk about percentages, and here's a little connection that I made for teachers about how else they could use those spinners. Okay, so a little enrichment there activity. Going on some more, the idea here is to get students involved in their learning. So we have some cartoons on what it looks like to be fair or not fair. You could definitely do this activity on pencil and paper and collect it your traditional way. Or in here, if you pull this out, there'll be a link for you to access the video that I'm creating right now on what it is to create a Smart Learning Suite activity. Okay, so that's what this is going to be all about right in here. And the reason I have this next slide blank is because this is where I'm going to be inserting the Smart Learning Suite online activity. So please notice I have this slide blank on purpose. Okay. Going further, we're talking about other than people, where else can we see fairness shown? So in animals and nature, and by all means have students collaborate on what else it could be to be fair. We're going back to who decides now what makes a community fair in a school, a community, in a classroom. And then this is a slide for you, again, to convert for the idea of getting information from your students and what it is to be fair. Does fair look the same for everybody? And then we go into our second shouted out activity, but this time we are taking pictures. So in here, what I want you to notice is in the settings icon again, I changed this Smart Lab activity so that it is collecting images, particularly 2 images from each student, and I'm showing their names. So the idea here is to send your students out with their iPads or their phones around their school and take images of situations where someone's being fair. Okay, so it's a very nice community building activity. Now, roles within the community. So again, the idea here, same as before, where we're going to turn this activity into one where kids could comment on what are the different roles in the community that helps to make a community fair. And we are in Edmonton right now, so one of the examples that I was hoping teachers would talk about would example be the City of Edmonton counselors and how they establish fairness, speaking times, media, relations, community involvement, community feedback. So that's what this slide is for here, okay? That is the last slide. So now at this point, what I'm going to show you is how to actually take this lesson and put it in the Smart Learning Suite online. And it's actually a very simple process. All you need to do is hit File, Share. And in here, it's going to save for your files any changes that you've made, and you get this little pop-up window that asks you, do you want to share this with the board? And this is if you have one of the new smart boards, or would you like to share using a link? And I'm going to click on share using a link. And what this does right here is it actually uploads my file into the Smart Learning Suite online, and it's pretty quick. Now, the other feature I want to show you is, say you are team teaching and you'd like to share this lesson with a teacher for them to open in the Smart Learning Suite Smart Notebook, and they want to do their own changes in Smart Notebook. Just simply email them this file, and it creates them a download link, so they could actually download your Smart Notebook file to change or use as they would like. Okay. Now, to go to the Smart Learning Suite online, you type in suite.smarttech.com. That's how you get here. I'm just going to refresh this page for a second just to see the file, show you that the file's been uploaded, and it actually uploads really fast. So this is all done real time. And what you're going to see is the file's going to be right here, and you get a couple of different options. You could either start the file. So starting basically means you're going to run the class with your students, or editing the file basically means we're going to edit the file before our students see it. And in this case, we're actually going to choose edit. So the reason I'm doing this is I'm setting up those activities on slides number 8 and 9 and slide number 14 where I'm going to do the Smart Learning Suite activities. Okay, so all I need to do is go down to my slide number 9. So if you remember, this is the part where we're talking about fairness. And then this is the part where I want my students to draw what fairness looks like. Now, this is the button I want you to press right here. I'm going to convert it to an activity. And in here I get two different options. Individual activity or collaboration. Individual activity, students can create and do their activities on their own, and that product that they create stays with them. But because I want to see what my groups of students are doing, I'm going to choose this new one down here. Okay. Now in here, what's going to happen is you can name your file with this slide what you want it to be, to draw fairness. And now what happens is this activity is set up and created for my students. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do and show you guys is on slide number 14. If you remember, this was the shouted out with images. Sorry, it's right here. What is fairness? And if I wanted to have my students now participate in an activity to do it on their own, so activity like slide number 13 or slide number 15, where I want them to do something on their own, and I'm not going to be looking at it, I can convert the activity to an individual activity, and this is fairness in the city. This activity, this teacher does not get to see. So let me show you what I mean. If I click on home now and start this activity, I'm logged in here on my phone, and what I will notice is when the activity by default is set to teacher right here, if the teacher moves the lesson, it moves the lesson on my phone. When I get to these activities right here for the label reveal, again, teacher could do them on the board, or students could do it on their phones. If a teacher moves the slides, it moves the slides of the students' phones or devices or iPads. When this teacher starts this activity, I could, depending on how many kids you have in your class, it'll put them into groups for you, and then you could obviously move them around yourself if you'd like to. I'm going to put everyone in one team just because it's only me right now. And here's the cool part. I'm going to draw right now on my phone, and the drawing that I put on my phone appears here. Okay, so it's really, really slick. If I had multiple groups, that's where I could click on this little cog right here, and I can switch my groups. And for sure, there is a text feature, so kids could even text for you their feedback by clicking on the A right here on their devices as well. Okay, so there's a few different ways you could do this. The other thing I wanted to show everyone before I end this recording is, if you remember, we added an activity on this slide right here. This one, if you remember, the feedback now, oh sorry, I think it was this one here, fairness in the city. The feedback now for this one, when the student creates this feedback, the teacher does not get to see. So again, I'm drawing the same person right here. I'm typing, it's not showing up here for the teacher, right? So individual stays with the individual. The one with the collaboration feature, that's the one that the teacher could see and present to the group, okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know, and have a good day. Thank you.